I'm Joyce. I am from Brazil. I have been in 11 years in US and I came here for my PhD in mathematics, but also for rock climbing. You guys have really good rocks around. I have I have a good background on teaching kids, in K-12 or undergrad students as well. And I do create content. I have, had experience on creating content, and that's how I come in AutoAuto. Mostly involved on creating content. I'm one of the collaborators on that. And I also help the teachers integrating courses in their schools, training them, and getting them, just comfortable teaching Python or facilitating Python, even though they might not know all the details. So today's webinar, we will be talking a little bit about what AutoAuto is, our mission, and jumping into how AutoAuto could help schools get started with machine learning or AI and introducing more of Python programming. And we're also going to learn today how you could do a summer learning in Python, using our platform and using our resources. Like you could have mentoring hours if you want to learn more Python and you got stuck in one of our work or homeworks and stuff. All right, so let's get started. Let me see. Is there any questions where we're heading? Nope? All right, so let me go ahead and get started. So this is AutoAuto, and this is me with a bunch of kids. It's always surprising to me how kids can get in such a small space when they're curious. They really make the way. So this is, again, our outline today. If you don't have an interest in learning Python, you can jump off right after we see who gets a free car, and we did the introductions. And so one of the biggest things we do in AutoAuto is to empower kids. And looking back, we thought when we were building AutoAuto, we thought what it was that ignited our passion, in STEM, what brought us to these fields. And we came up with these answers together. We had a positive first experience and second experience and so on. We felt comfortable doing what we were doing. We had curiosity, and whatever we were doing brought us more curiosity to self-learn and problem solve. I love the girls here on the right. They are actually doing this in a summer camp. They looked, when they saw what was inside the car, they really wanted to do something with the hardware, and then we came up with something for them. And they were super happy. They created a sort of a robot during that summer camp. So the third thing is then to finally feel empowered to pursue their own passions. And that's what we are about. Our mission is to help kids feeling empowered to pursue their dreams. And that's when the cars come in. It's very engaging, it's friendly, and our platform can help with that as well. We do have a video. I'm gonna play it here. It's a quick video, and I'm sorry if it doesn't work well on your end because sometimes the streaming is an issue. But let me know. Yeah, so this is how the cars look like currently. This is how they are looking for us. And we usually put some names here, like we try to make it gender equal, and we put superhero names so the kids get more excited about them as we personalize a little bit them. And I'm just going to turn the car on and go a little bit through the platform. So the idea of the platform, one is to help the kids kind of self-pace. Everything we have as much as possible is project-based learning. And every single lesson we created, we try to couple with a car application, usually a self-driving car application. So it's connecting to the world of artificial intelligence and machine learning. But in a very conceptual way, like at the beginning, the kids, it's like peeling the onion. They start with very simple things, very simple commands. They conceptually learn what a machine learning is, what self-driving cars are. And then little by little, we start peeling that onion, and then they dive down as much as they want to, further and further, to the point where they can even code the car with machine learning to self-driving a track, for example. So once you register in the platform, the first thing you see is actually your CTO here. Welcome, everyone. The very first step you do when you have cars is to connect them to the Wi-Fi in the building. And that's a one-time step. And basically, when you do, all you need is to put the name of the Wi-Fi and the password, and we'll generate a QR code once you do that. And then you point the camera of the car to that QR code, and then your car has Wi-Fi from now on. So it's coded via Wi-Fi. You code from the browser, and all it needs is the Wi-Fi. And the next step is to pair the account you're in. Like, for example, you're one of the students, you won't need a car. So the next step is to pair your car to that account. And then every car has a VIN number, of course. So that's their unique number. And then you just put a VIN number that's behind the car, or also in the screen of the car. And once you put that VIN number in, it will confirm, a code on the screen of the car. We do that for the security purpose. That way, you're the only one coding the car. But once you pair it with a car, that car is yours for the entire course. You might have multiple students paired with the same car, or you might have one student paired with multiple cars. Sometimes in a different day, they want to work with someone different. So once you do that, you're on. You have, for example, here, you will see the car you paired with. Mine is called Mabel. And then you could come here, and if you knew how to program her, and I know already, so I would just do something to make her move. A very, very initial thing to know. Like I said, it's just peeling the onion. We started very simple, 2 lines of code, and then can start coding the car. And that's her moving around. Now, if you didn't know how to code your car, you would start on the course. In this case, here is a cohort from one school. You would see here all the curricula you had assigned, and you would see, you'd see all your peers here as a student. And then you started the first lesson here, and you'd start actually with the cars. And one thing we do when we code the cars is we make it collaborative. You can have, usually 2 students coding the same car. That way they collaborate. And later on, if they are doing different things, they can still sort of collaborate. Like they can be helping each other when someone is coding something else. And then there's a time that the other person will code, so they swap. We call them engineers and coders as a pair. So one thing to mention here, to facilitate the teacher's life, and to help with self-pacing, we do have video format, but you could also use slides if that's preferred, or you could even look at the text on the right. So here's how to treat the fleet. You want to make sure those cars last forever. They are very durable, and that's why actually they have our RC car bottoms, so they can hit the walls many times. But we still ask the kids to be careful. And here, for example, we talk a little bit about pair programming, how there's gonna be one coder and one engineer, and then they swap roles maybe in 3-4 minutes in, or once they get to the next session. And then finally here, they could be programming, they could watch the video and just, in this case, they would be typing the same thing you just saw me typing over there, like we're using the car library that AutoAuto created for them. And then they do a command to make the car move around. For example, car to the left, in this case now. So they collaborate a lot. They also have the individual work to do. right? So if you go back here, there is an introduction to machine learning. They also have to watch the video and ask questions. And we have check for understandings that are automated, and so they could after watching the video, learning a little bit, they could answer this and get points or not. And we also have customized answers if they make a mistake. So for example, here, as they move it in the first day of lessons, they go into printing in Python. Oh, I answered too many of those already. I need to reset my account. I can still do this. Like, let me pick one here. Well, let's say we're in challenge 1. We're supposed to print a really big number here, like make this number smaller. So if that's not correct, you see the red here, and it will tell a little bit of what is wrong. It's saying that's not a big enough number. So it kind of helps giving us a bit of a clue what it wants. And so that's how we build the platform. We're building it to help the teacher the student self-pace and project-based learn on their own pace. We're also trying to help the teacher because it's not easy to just start teaching programming out there, and like just start teaching personalized learning in a good ways. Yeah. Is there any questions about this part?
Cool. How long is the curriculum? Because like for me, it would be like an after school.
Yeah. So after schools, we work with them as well. So sometimes they do like 10 to 20 hours in a semester, right? Depending if they're doing 2 hours a week or 1 hour a week, and so on. So we have, there are stopping points for 10 hours, for 20, like they're good stopping points everywhere. But this content is about 2 semesters of programming. And if you think of 1 credit, depending on the pace of the student, of course. So it will depend on the ages of them, on the age as well. Most of our content is for 5th graders and up. And we are building, because of demand, we're building content for the very young kids now as well. So for the 1st and 2nd graders, we have 10 to 20 hours of learning right now. And we can build more, if you just, we need more guys, let's build more. So that's what we do. We just want to, go with the flow here. Any other questions?
I was going to ask.
John had a question.
Yes.
I was going to ask, have you looked at, right now it's focused on automobiles. Have you looked at making it more general purpose? In other words, to look at other kinds of gadgetry, if you will.
Yes, we do. We love to apply every single content, right? That's why the cars are right there. It makes it easier to apply to the car moving around or the self-driving cars. But we little by little are applying outside that use case. For example, there are a few things that is for building games, like they have to build a fortune game and they have to build a rock paper scissors game, to play with their car or with the computer if they don't have a car. So a little by little, getting a little out, we have music composition. For example, the car has a buzzer. They can actually figure out notes to play the songs of their interest. Yeah, so we do have a great interest in still keep applying, because applying is important for them to, to have fun, to see why they need to learn something. But we are super open to apply it outside the self-driving or the cars world. Yeah. Any other questions here?
Is it currently just one hardware package? You have like different.
Yes, currently we have the cars. Oh, we actually have a car kit that they can assemble. They could assemble a car right now, but we're making that a little easier without having to. Like there's few details that makes it a little trickier. Like just older age perhaps would do it, like a 13-year-old and up, because of like if you have screws and things like that. So we're evolving the product to being a little more possible to assemble, or semi-assemble it. We also have a robot kit that is just without the car, that they would assemble just the guts of the car and do a few things using that. And the cars also have they're coming in the green and the blue color coming up in the next month. We do have bigger plans for other hardware, but that's nothing that will happen this year. Oh, potentially, I don't know. Maybe it depends on the partnerships that come up. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. yeah, that's it's always exciting for us. One of our goals is to have our platform basically work with any hardware and make it fun, for hardware to be taught, or at least the programming part once they're done building something. So that's one of our goals for sure.
Um, just by looking at it, so the school or our organization would create the account and then we pair the vehicles within the account. I was just thinking about it as far as this would not leave our organization. They couldn't borrow it to take it home.
Oh, you can actually do that if you want. It's on your you have to, if you trust your students, you can definitely having them bring it home. This account will work any time of the day. Like they can come in. A lot of our students work off outside the classroom. Usually in a school they wouldn't borrow the cars. I think that's the school thing. Like they are just more careful. But I think in a club things are a bit more. Everybody knows each other more. So I think that would be awesome actually, because they could bring the car home, do whatever they want, and bring questions. It's like a flipped classroom, right? Just bring questions to their meeting if they have questions. Yeah, so that's totally up to you. If you either rent or buy cars, it's totally up to your program to do that. I think that would be the best case scenario actually. Work on their own time, and but however, kids get really excited when they work together as well. So one thing that is also doable is for you to give them a little bit of a homework on the only Python lessons or non-car lessons. And then they come to the classroom and they focus on what we call the car labs or the projects. That's another option as well. So they kind of collaborate and work, they get a little competitive sometimes together. So friendly competitive. Yeah.
Do they sign in with password or do they have their own individual account?
That's right. Yeah, they have their individual accounts. For example, here in this case, we have all the students, and you could also even look where they were in terms of progress, what they finished in the platform. But we're developing a layer to this. That's the teacher's portal, where you have better access of what they are doing, not just what they finished. But so that's going to be ready until the next school year in August. We're super excited about that, and we have teachers testing as already and giving us, what they need to build and things like that.
In the vein of the automobiles, has anyone looked at a simulator?
Yeah, there were thoughts about that. The interesting part of that is that could reach anywhere, right? Like we could have this platform being everywhere, and it would be way more affordable. Although the simulator would lose a lot of the engineering aspect of it, like the trying something, making sure it's working. You're trying to detect a pedestrian with the car, and you really want to understand when the car cannot do that, when it can do that. So that's the engineering aspect of it, which we love. It's a lot of trial and error sometimes, depending where things are. Like we need to get closer to the pedestrian so the camera sees it and so on. So we'd lose that a little bit with the simulations. Yeah.
I think the question about the simulator relates to number one, the idea of a flipped class, where people would be doing a certain amount of, we'll call it offline learning at home. And they come to the class and work with the actual vehicles.
Yeah. That makes sense. That would be neat. Yeah. Any more questions about the car platform? Well, let me take the hood off. You might be interested in actually knowing what's under the hood.
I have a question. Can we see what the camera sees?
Oh, yeah, sure. That's actually, we can do that from the platform. Well, so we had it available for the students to always see what the camera sees, but that became a candy. So now they need to earn points for that. And they can actually code the camera to do it on its own. I could go here and just quickly do while true, and I think card up. Oh, let me get a frame. So let me get a picture first, right? So here we're getting a picture, taking a picture. And now we're plotting that picture. So we just do car. There is another command for streaming exactly, but I can't remember it by heart. So let's see what that does for us. Okay, so you see here what the car is saying?
Yeah.
And you can also see on the screen of the car as well, so the engineer could be seeing it and kind of figuring out where to put the figurine to be detected, you know, like right in front, where to position it. We have one lesson that depending where it is on the picture, it has to, you know, go around somehow, depending if it's on the middle, right and left. So they can do, once they do this, oh, it's funny, there was a warning there. Once they do this, they actually unlock being able to just turn on the streaming. They would have enough points by then. But before we had it here, you know, available, and it was just like a candy for them. They just like be doing that all the time. I have it available because I'm an admin, but the students can't anymore. They have to earn those points, like I mentioned. Yeah, so they can get into spy missions with that. There are lots of things they start doing when they get into, you know, like just the loops basically, which is like a level 3 for us, just to understand how you can continuously doing the same, you know, just executing the same code over and over with the loops.
So we got feedback here. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting idea. The implementation of the simulator could actually use probably a gamer's framework, which are available online, open source, so that might reduce the task substantially.
Oh yeah, that's really interesting.
Right, they come. Most of the gaming frameworks, of course, have a physics engine in them. So.
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense, right? Like
And not to suggest anything, but what is it? Grand Theft Auto.
What's that?
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Is built with one of those physics engines.
Oh wow. I'll take note of that.
So this is the first time I look at this. So what grades are your students in?
Oh, so by the way, I teach sometimes. It's mostly for testing the curriculum, but we don't directly work with them. So the schools we're in, the schools that either buy the cars or renting the cars, we have a variety. Like we do high school students, middle school. I think the bulk of it are middle school students, but we don't have those numbers from the top of our heads. Yeah, I think mostly middle schools, which I think is a sweet spot for this, because the more the kids know in terms of mathematics, the more they can jump into harder things as they keep going. If they're much younger, they have to stay more in the coding world. But the young kids are so excited. You know, the younger they are, the more excited. The older, more knowledge. So, but we do work with them all, and we are working more with very young kids. That's why we start creating content for them. You know, more content focusing on them. Yeah. Also, by the way, this is how the car looks inside. You see, we have the screen here. We can take pictures, and we would see here, or video. We have a board that helps minimizing the wires around. If you want to have, you know, more sensors, it makes it a little less hairy, you know, and it's usually hard for a teacher when something unplugs to plug it back and know where it is. So we try to minimize this for the classroom. I know this is not appealing for some of you guys that build cars. You want all the wires out there. But this is very helpful in the classroom. You know, like things will not unplug, and this also gives us possibilities here. We can have other sensors and so on. Yeah. And here's the camera as well. We rely a lot on the camera to make things cheaper, but we do have ideas of, you know, getting other sensors out there. Like we used to have a distance sensor, object, just a wall detection sensor, like a sonar sensor. Sonar sensor not that great, but we want to have just another sensor back in to do that job in the future. But once the car is a bit more affordable as well. All right, let's see. I think that is. We're moving on to the next part, I think, right? If there are no more questions on the AutoAuto and how things work. So for us, this is very rewarding here, the testimonials part, especially on the student side. Like all our teachers realize this is important for them, for their future. You know, they're learning real world skills. You know, they will use, even in terms of critical thinking, problem solving, that will always be there. But they're also digging into computer programming, which is super important our days, and they also looking into AI and machine learning, which will be way more important, you know, coming up. But from the student's perspective, you know, for me as a female, I love seeing girls empowered, and I see that a lot of the cars. And this is a couple of feedbacks. There are 3 girls in this students' feedback here. They all translates to feeling empowered, and that's why we're here, why we exist. You know, like for example, Sarah saying that it makes me feel smart, like real smart, because I know what a lot of experts do. Or Natalie saying that girls can do everything that boys can do, and so on. So this is my personal payment here when I do this. Just a quick things before we go to see who gets a car here. So just to summarize, you know, like for the teachers, we have about 2 semesters, especially for middle schools and up. These assignments are auto-graded, which helps you in your classroom. You know, like we have also assessments besides the check for understandings. A student's progress is automatically tracked. You saw that you could see what they finish, and soon enough we have a bit more detail on that for the teacher layer, for the teacher's portal. And we are offering limited training and support. All right, so let's see who gets a free card. So I see I have a list here. Let me go to the list. Let's see who gets it. Oh, are you ready? Mark, that's you. All right, so yeah, you did. Okay, so I'll talk to you about getting
Congratulations.
yeah. I'll talk to you about getting your information after this to ship your car and so on. Yeah. All right, so I'll just put a note here. Yay, Mike won.
Not surprised.
Yeah, congratulations. All right, so one of the things we're super into is to get all the teachers comfortable with teaching Python. So this summer we'll be doing a free online course that you can actually get our help anytime you're stuck. So I'll talk about that. If for the people that couldn't join today, you can also do this, right? So you will go to the AutoAuto Labs. You can actually join using this cohort code name, Python Teachers. And this is how we create our classrooms. So you can, when you get there, you'll see that we can create a future classroom for you that would look like that. And if you get stuck, you can schedule mentoring time with me, you know, like, or if you want to share an idea, if you want to just talk about something, you go to Calendly here, and you know, the blue days here are options. Let me know if those times do not work for you. We can make it work. So what I have for you in your classroom for this summer is the following. Let me go to the teachers cohort specifically. I have so many cohorts here. So again, this could be a cohort for your classroom. It's just giving you an idea of how it works. You have all the content that AutoAuto has with the cars, so you have an idea if you decide to teach this. By the way, we can always customize this content for you. For example, if you're not comfortable on giving the students a chance of looking into data science, we can take that out of the game, and we can only show the levels that would make sense for your classroom. Like if they're very young, they will just see the level 0, 1, and 2, you know, possibly, unless they're really good already on coding for some reason. So for you, for your summer, And as soon as you enroll, you have 0 points here, so you have to start working. No pressure. But here's what we kind of extracted this from the lessons that are coupled with the cars. But this is what you can do without the cars, and up to until level 3. Not everything is here. It's just like a little introduction. So you have the intro to programming, and now you see a little bit of what it was machine learning, and then you have the coding options here. You don't need to do the bonuses; they are optional. But sometimes you might need them for tackling a project. Like for example, the expense calculator project here is a Python only project. You'll need to know the bonus variables in Python. But you could not, you could decide not to do this. The bonuses are not super important for you. It's just an introduction here. We have a review and assessment as well. And then you start moving on. This is actually our second level in AutoAuto, but we add the cars to this, right? So we have a lot of car application here. So it won't be as fun, but you can do the Python. You can feel comfortable with what is Python. And so on. So I think there's only 11 levels here. But if you finish this, you feel like I want to know a lot more, you can just go back and find the next level Python. It would be in level 4 and up. You can find them here and keep going and, keep getting my help this summer. It's up to you. So this is, this is what I would love to have or you can share this with your teacher if you're not the one actually teaching. We have had teachers that haven't gone through any of this and they successfully facilitated these classes in their classroom. This is just a way, the more you know, obviously, the better, the more confident you feel. And that's part of, we know it's part of the game. That's why we want everybody in the world to learn Python. That's why, the chances are better than the students will learn as well. Yeah. So yeah, I will send this information, so you don't need to worry about copying this. I'll send an email, and I'll actually recommend what you should be doing each week as well. The relaxed version and the more, if you're more into it version. We will have another webinar coming up on the beginning of July where we're going to be doing exactly the same, motivating teachers to come in. So if you know teachers that cannot start now, some schools are still going on, but they want to start in July, these sprints, this Python learning, they can join the webinar as well in July. We'll be sharing that. And I think that is it. Now we have like a few minutes to just talk about anything, any other questions, or just any discussions about programming in the classroom, AI in the classroom you might have.
Joyce, we just had a question come up here with regards to the standard pricing programs.
Okay. So we do, the way we make this more affordable is through our rental program. So our rental could happen, for example, you could think of a week or 2 weeks of a summer camp or an after school program in a semester or a school in a semester, and this is the price per car, and including, in a car here, we had, for example, this semester we had like 150 students using 10 cars. They were actually using a bigger ratio. We had more 3 or 4 students per car in one school. And so we had about 15 students per car in an entire semester. So that can be very affordable, if you get efficient with the cars, like you got a car, just think of it as a computer, a Chromebook that you can carry around every classroom as much as possible, or putting in a library and having students come to it and try it out. So this is our cheap, our most affordable. But if the schools have any funding, they could either try out a classroom, like in the classroom, they buy a car, they have like 4 students' accounts, and 4 students can be learning through, the accounts can last like a year, I think, and then usually students don't come back after a year of learning everything anyways. But if you want to do this in your whole entire school, we have then the school district where you pay for having limited accounts year over year for the lifetime of the cars. Those cars can last 2, 3 years and so on. Even especially with replacing parts. And so in this case, you would go for this last option for the school or district. And we can, we work with POs. We can also work with some sort of car financing. Thinking of the world of cars, depending on, to accommodate whatever scenario it's doable. Again, just thinking of it as a Chromebook, and by the way, they work with Chromebooks as well. You can code from a Chromebook. You can, once you get them, just think of the bazillion ways you can use it, and so you can make it way more affordable. They have 6 months of warranty in any part, like any defects and so on. We also sometimes replace also even what is not a defect, like hardly something breaks, but we this semester, for example, we had a screen breaking for some reason. It was crazy. We didn't know how that could even happen, but then we got it replaced. It was just want you guys to be happy and make things easier as well, not having you to go somewhere and get those or pay. School's payments are tricky, so we want to make sure they can pay once and not worry anymore, not having to go through a bureaucratic way to paying something. So anyways, we are very flexible. We're trying to make it very affordable too. We do have an economy of scale problem, right? The cars are not the cheapest thing out there yet because they have so many electronics, so many parts that are complex to them. But as we grow, we hope that this gets better and better. Does that answer the question, David? Is there anything within the pricing that you might want to ask?
Nope, I think that was clear.
Anybody else, Miriam?
Do you still get support even if you rent?
Yes, and the way we create support is so we're migrating towards just always offer unlimited, because teachers, honestly, they need a few hours in and they hardly need anything else after, right? So if we say unlimited, people will just feel more comfortable, that anything they need will be there. And so I think that's what we're moving on, and that's what we have been doing so far, like we have offer all the support needed, and it's usually not much. What we have seen is that a teacher might need anywhere from 2 to 6 hours to get started. We recommend that for them to get their car and go through the very first unit in the very first session. After they learn with us in the first session, that's their homework, to go through just this very first unit here to get to understand how the course works. So we want them to, at least in the very first day of class, get before the very first day, to get to this, to know this part, and then go with the flow after. If teachers are busy, but we have seen that they catch up later, even if they can't do this before the class starts. And then after that, we could have a second meeting or we could be there in the first day if that's locally here. So sometimes we do offer to be there in the first day. That helps with just their confidence. But we have plenty of scenarios that we did this all remotely. We were not there ever. We haven't even met the teacher, and just working online and having them with the cars itself, and having the platform available was enough for them to get started. Yeah, well, silence the room. Anything else?
No, I guess, could I set up a call another day, because I gotta see what I'm gonna do a summer camp, so I gotta see what the schedule is.
Okay.
And the good thing is, during the year, I have an after school, so I'm with the kids.
Oh, that's great.
5 days a week, so that's gonna be awesome for me. Like, this is incredible.
Oh, that's awesome. Great to hear. Yeah, we can definitely set up a call. I will follow up with you on the address as well. So we can set up a call, and then, yeah. Thanks, Mark. All right, everybody. Any other questions before we finish? You can go earlier, go to lunch or brunch.
I think we'll sign off then too, Joyce. Thank you so much. Fascinating product. I think we'll probably be talking next week.
That's awesome. Great to hear, guys. Thank you so much for joining today. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye.